being more vulnerable and humble and honest with myself and with others about myself.
Yeah.
And, I'm not putting on a front of I've got it all together, because no one really does. But I think there's something to that where what you produce will be more vulnerable and honest, and people will gravitate to that.
The Capital City.
more.
Welcome to the Capital City Creative Podcast. Back for another episode. Today I'm joined with my guest, Liv. She is a photographer and also she's an artist as well. A little bit of graphic design, but more so photography.
Can do.
Yeah, she can do. Yeah.
Will do it for you if I really like it.
Yeah. So photography and art is her thing. Thank you so much, Liv, for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So got a few questions. First, how do you create?
I create primarily with a camera. Photography is my main form of creativity.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I do more for other people, because I've got a separate boundary of what I create for people as my job. And then there's a section of creativity that's just for me.
Yeah.
And I found that the things that I create for me are mostly through paintings or sketches, but love to create art for people too, because there's nothing more special than seeing your photo or a painting you've done in someone's home.
Yeah.
To really elevate their walls and warm up their space, and it's just super fun to see something you've done in someone's home. But yeah, paintings and photography is how I create mostly.
All right. So I know I've seen some of your stuff, and I know that you came from just kind of doing it for fun to then switching over, which we'll get into later. But before we jump into that, what inspires you to create? Like, where do you get your inspiration from?
I'm going to kind of piggyback off of a Virgil Abloh quote.
Okay.
I got the Something's Off book for Christmas, and it just really revamped my he's an incredible artist that I really look up to a lot. He was awesome. But he's got a little card on the top of his book that it comes with, and it says, "Everything I do is for my 17-year-old self." And this is so embarrassing, but my siblings were there and can attest to it. When I opened up that book and saw that I started crying, like on Christmas Day. They were like, it's a book. And I was like, you don't get it.
Yeah, you're not creative.
You don't get it.
Yeah.
But seriously, I mean, it was just, first of all, he just inspires me so much anyway. And then just to see that on the book, and, he died a couple of years ago, from cancer, which was super, super sad. But just seeing that, really, I didn't realize that that's kind of who I create for too.
Yeah.
Until I saw that. It's like I had kind of felt that way, but didn't know I felt that way. And he just worded it perfectly. And a lot of, especially my paintings, I've found, all the art that I make is not cookie cutter. It's not something you're going to go see, anywhere. And it really made me, I think I am creating that for my younger self, somebody who's struggled with mental health and, my own internal conflict. Art was always the way I would project that and feel it, because I'm not a big feely person. I'm a type 8 Enneagram, if y'all know what that is. And I'm just, so what I would do is if I was angry, mad, sad, whatever emotion it was, I'm taking it with a brush and some paint and I'm putting it on there. And, that's why I do it, especially for painting. So my painting creativity is in a completely different box than my photography, because my inspiration to create photography is, especially just with this generation and this, the way everybody's getting back into digital cameras and everybody's getting into content, and TikTok really changed, the way people make content forever, I think. And, people are videoing them doing fitness. They're videoing them cooking. People are literally making content out of doing laundry. This is how I fold a t-shirt. People are making content out of everything now.
Yeah.
And so people are just documenting more, which I think is beautiful. I think some of it is kind of cringy and funny, but then I think also I'm really glad that people are documenting, because you get this one life, and I want to be able to look back on all of these things. And, so back to, I kind of rambled on there, but back to why I like to do photography for people is there's just nothing more satisfying and encouraging than when you've delivered a gallery to a client and they're just like, Oh my gosh, I cannot believe I've never gotten these pictures of my kids before. They won't smile for me. I can't do it with my iPhone, and I can't get them to sit down and get a picture. Like, I'm gonna love these forever, and that's what photos are when you keep them intact, whether digitally or, a physical copy of a photo. They're gonna have those forever.
Yeah.
Because do you have baby pictures at home of yourself?
Yeah.
Okay. And how old are you? All right. And so it's like these people, you want to go. Who took that photo? I don't know.
Right.
But it's like you have kept that for a
Yeah.
long time. And I think that is it's just so rewarding to me to be able to be that vessel for freezing memories and freezing time.
Love it.
And that they can have that for forever. And I'm a big, I'm not even married and I'm nowhere near having children, but I'm just like, I can't wait to show my kids this one day. I love to document, and to be able to do that for other people is just really, really special to me and really rewarding.
No, I love that. Just kind of one of the things in moving your creativity to a profession or wanting to make income from it, one of the things is like finding a niche, I guess. Mm-hmm. And then even after finding a niche, being able to communicate that to people like, hey, this is what I do, but not just, in a way that's creative, in a way that's excellent. And so for me, I think just kind of stepping out and doing a little bit more videography too, it's like I like capturing memories. Mm-hmm. I've had the opportunity to be able to do like a homecoming, be like the doc, do like a short doc for someone's homecoming, and being able to capture the moment between, the girl and her father, walking her out, the family, her seeing her little sister, and them kind of, and like I just totally relate to that. It's like you like being able to be the one to help capture memories, because everybody else is caught up in the moment, and you get to capture the moment. Mm-hmm. So I think that's really, really cool. That I'm gonna have to check that book out too. Something's off.
It's incredible. It's really awesome.
I have to save my card and brace myself when I open it.
Yeah, it was like, I don't know why I cried. I don't know.
It inspires you.
It did. Yeah, it inspires me.
So with things that inspire you, I also know that I have to say this. I'm sorry that you are a sneakerhead.
Self-certified.
Right, self-certified sneakerhead. So I know you have quite the collection as well. You have a few heaters.
A few. I don't have them on today. I didn't know I was doing this today, or I would have brought the heat, but I've got my Adidas on right now.
Hey, Adidas, somebody somewhere loves Adidas. And
I love these. These are my beaters. I wear these almost every day.
You got to have a good pair of beaters. Yeah. But what is your favorite pair of shoes?
To exist or that I own?
Okay.
That's a whole different conversation.
That you own.
That I own. This was hard for me last time you asked me this too.
What? This is the first time I've asked you this. I'm kidding.
I think we've talked about this before out in passing, because we both love shoes. I've been looking at yours since we started, but I probably wear my Jordan 1 Seafoams the most, because that's just that color green, just my favorite.
Great shoe.
I like to wear those it comes with that cream lace with the orange trim.
Yep.
I just can't take those off. Okay, wait. My SB4s, that pine green, I changed my mind. That's my favorite pair.
Yeah, I was going to say, you can't choose Seafoams over those.
I forgot, yeah.
I think that was the shoe of the year, 2023. That's just my opinion, though. I feel like it was.
Yeah, I feel really cool when I walk around in this.
Hey, that's the joy of it. Don't get caught up in the competition of shoes. If you like it and it makes you feel confident and good, go with that shoe.
Yeah, and it was the first pair of 4s I ever got, so I think that's really cool too. Shout out to Swellaphonic in Jackson.
Yeah.
But that's my favorite pair.
Okay, Jordan SB4s.
Yeah.
And I think there's another colorway coming out soon. I'm not
Military
sure yet.
blue.
Yes.
They're nice.
Will we be seeing that? Maybe we'll see those at
I don't know.
Yeah, maybe we'll see those at Swellaphonic.
I don't know.
You never know. But check it out. Swellophonic's a great local store here in the area. So check them out on Instagram, Swellophonic.
Yeah.
All right. So one thing I know about you is you stepped over from just kind of a regular job, even though we can't call it regular because you got to create in it, though. Mm-hmm. But to working for yourself, creating and starting your own business where you're, using your art, using your craft to make income, and a lot comes with that. Hopefully there are people who, this space is for creatives, people who want to create, or people who are looking for creatives. And so I'd love for this space to be one to help inspire, others. Tell us about that journey.
Yeah, so I'm a very impulsive person, and I studied public relations and graphic design at Mississippi College and loved it. I love communications. I think there's a lot more with communications than people realize. I think it's a really special, unique field. Loved it. Thought, all right, this is what I'm going to do. I don't know what I'm going to do with communications, but I was like, this is it. This is what I want to do. And so my job at Swellophonic was the communications director, and I was doing graphics, photography, the product photography, helping put on events.
Yeah.
And I loved it. It was super fun. Loved working for Drew and Cheney, or with Drew and Cheney. Cheney would want me to say with. He hates when I say that. Sorry,
with.
Cheney. Sorry, Cheney. With Cheney. But, and it was super, super fun, and I loved it. They gave me a lot of, free will to kind of be creative and think outside the box, because Swellophonic is a very outside the box place. If you've ever been, if you're not, what are you doing? You need to go.
Check it out.
But I loved it, but what I found was once I shifted into the product photographer spot, like once I kind of shifted more into that than I was really PR and communications, I was like, wow, I just really get so much joy from doing this. And I've been doing photography, as a hobby for people this will be my 7th year.
Wow.
And to this day, I've never left a shoot and not been excited to go see what's on that card.
Yeah.
I leave the shoot and I'm like, I cannot wait to see. And editing, a lot of photographers hate the editing process. That is my favorite part. Maybe I'm weird. Like, I know it's tedious and it's really time consuming and your neck probably hurts afterwards, but like, that is my favorite part, because I get to take a mediocre, good at best photo, raw, and really that's when the creativity starts for me. And I love to go back and forth to see what it looked like. I just love it. And I just remember, doing a promo shoot for one of the shoes we got or something, and we took it outside and really and I was just like, I just wish I could do this all the time. I wish I could do this all the time and make money doing it. And I was like, why can't I? I can, actually. If I think I could, if I really just put myself out there and did it. And I had a week out in the woods where I was off the grid, no computers, no screens, no nothing, no work. And I had a lot of time to think about it. And we did this session called 15 Minutes, and they turned off all the light. I'm a Young Life leader, so I was at Young Life camp with some high school kids, but I got a lot out of the experience too, obviously.
Shout out Young Life.
Shout out MRA Young Life, love y'all. And they turned off all the lights at the camp, every single light, and it was dark. And they said for 15 minutes, just go outside and just breathe and think about anything and talk to God about anything you need to talk to God about and anything you've been wanting to. And, I think it was great for the kids, obviously, because they're with a lot of screens, but it was great for me because I'm also with a lot of screens.
You need to,
And I got to disconnect, and like I just remember laying there I was on like a deck or something. I was just laying there because my back was hurting. I didn't want to sit any longer. But I was just laying down flat out on this deck in the middle of North Carolina for 15 minutes, and that's a long time to just sit there in silence. Like, that's a long time.
Especially in this day and age.
Yes.
Some people couldn't make it. Some people could not make it.
Yes, it was really, even for me, I'm like, we make fun of these little teenagers, but even for me, I was like, how long has it been? Like,
right.
And so, but I'm laying there, and I just got so overwhelmed talking to God and just really thinking about what I want to do with my life. I'm only 23, I've got lots of life ahead of me, and I'm still kind of in that pivotal, all right, what are we doing kind of stage. And so I just remember sitting there talking to God and just asked him that. I was like, what am I doing? What do I need to do? Is this something you think I can handle? Should I put myself out there? Should I try this? This is what I want to do. This is what brings me joy. But if it's not your plan for me, I just need you to tell me what to do, basically. Yeah. And I just remember getting this overwhelming feeling of quit your job. Quit your job and do it. And that sounds funny, but that's what I did the week I got home. I got home and I was like, I'm sorry, but I think this is what I'm called to do. And I am at the age where I feel like it's kind of,
Pivotal.
I agree with this, but I don't. I just kind of felt like it was now or never
Yeah.
for me personally.
Yeah, that's good.
Not that it's never too late to start. It's never too late to start, doing what you want to do or trying something new. But for me personally, in this time of life, I felt like you got to try this now.
Yeah.
And so that's what I did. I put in my 2 weeks notice and got some headshots made and really started branding myself and put it out there and started doing art, photography, graphic design full time. And that was in August. And it's been great ever since then. I've loved it. But I couldn't have done that without help from the Lord and just peace over me, because it was a big decision. You're out on your own. I've only been out of college 2 years.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, is this smart? Should I do this right now? Or should I save some more money and wait? Or should I wait? I'm just like, I don't think I need to wait. I think I need to just go out on a limb and try it.
And I think there's like 3 big points there. I just want to touch because I don't want to skim over those. One, I totally get that. Like when you feel like it is your time to move, and when you feel God telling you to move, you need to move no matter what age. And it's great that, you felt that and you're like, I'm going to move on it. 2, let's not skip over that grind that you put in to get your name out there, to take time to get a pad and pen or, your iPad and just kind of sketch out what your logo is going to be because you created this yourself. You didn't say, man, I need this much to start up. You said, no, I'm going to take what I have and I'm going to use it. And so I definitely don't want to look past that either. And then thirdly, if not the most important, is like with anything, whether it be a venture, whether it be a step, whether it be a question you have in a moment, just taking that time to get the answer from God is the best thing that you could possibly do, because with that comes so much peace. But not only that comes the provision and the provision and everything you need to do it. If he's asking you to do it, he's not gonna call you somewhere where he hasn't been and isn't gonna go with you. Right. And so it's been great to see the momentum of your Instagram, despite any type of obstacles that try to come against you or come at you, and to see that regardless of what anybody else thinks or anybody else does, like you are succeeding, and he is there's just favor on you to do what you do. And so if you haven't checked out her Instagram, you definitely need to. She's great at what she does, and she's getting better each day. So check that out.
Stop it. Stop.
So, and it's something too, it's like with each step, I would just encourage you, like, get still, like with each step. Mm-hmm. And maybe you're sitting here right now, or you're listening to this podcast, or you're coming across this reel and you're like, you're in a frustrated moment or a burnout moment when it comes to creativity, when it comes to making or taking a step forward. How would you take 15 minutes, get still, put the phone aside, as hard as it may seem, and just ask God what he wants you to do? And he'll answer us. A lot of times people say God doesn't talk to them. Mm-hmm. It's not that God isn't speaking, it's that they choose not to listen.
Mm-hmm. Selective hearing.
Right. It's like, God doesn't talk to me, but you need to get up. No, that's something else.
Yeah.
That's
and something I was actually reading today in preparation for a talk I'm giving tomorrow. But I was reading in Matthew 6 is what I'm talking about tomorrow morning. And which I'm talking about the part about worry, but I flipped over and it's talking about prayer. And something that's really stuck out to me from that was he already knows what you need before you ask him.
Yep.
And that's been really encouraging to me, whether that be any sort of, because, the next couple paragraphs over, it's talking about worry, and whether that's peace over what you're worrying about or whatever chain that is for you, you've got the name that can break it. And it's like he already knows what you need. And so just go to him. And even if you think he's not going to hear you, or you think he's not going to understand, or I feel like I'm talking to nobody, he already knows what you need. And like it says, ask and you shall receive, and he knows what you need.
Yeah.
And he's there with open arms. And that's what happened to me. Growing up in Mississippi, I'd heard that my entire life, and it got kind of watered down to me because I was just like, okay, that's great.
Yeah.
But when you really taste and see it for yourself, it's really hard to not believe it.
Yeah. And that's so good. I could go down that.
That's for another podcast.
Yeah, that's another podcast. But it's yeah. mic drop. I fully agree
Yeah,
with
I'm
that.
gonna go
Yeah,
now.
I fully agree with that though. It's just taking that time to, just trust as well. And I think I'll just say this, and then we can go into the next thing. But like in asking, it just honors God, and that's one of the greatest things we could do, if not the greatest, is to honor Him. And so, yeah, just that's why He gives us an opportunity to honor Him. It's like God, who is God, right? He has everything, and He created everything, but He doesn't force anything upon us. And so in that, we have the ability to do something for Him, and that is honor Him with like an ask, and now honor Him with a question, request that He could fulfill just like that, right?
And I think too, it's like He gives us all unique gifts. Sorry, my hair's on your microphone.
No, you're good.
He gives us all these unique gifts, and if ours is being creative and having parts in our brain that operate better than somebody, like I could never do what a surgeon does. I could never do, it's so not for me. But it's like if this is the gift I was given, the ability to communicate, to create, to think outside the box, it would just be such a waste, in my opinion, to not use it, one, but then as a person of faith, to not use it to glorify God in it.
Yeah. No, I love that. I love that for sure. So with this space and the things that you've encountered, things that you're encountering, being a creative who is growing, who came from working for someone to jumping into stepping out. I'm not going to say jumping because you asked and He showed you what to do and you stepped in it. What would you say to someone that, just like you were saying, that 17-year-old version of yourself who is, still learning confidence, still learning who she is, but there's something in her that God has placed there to pull out creatively? What would you say? What's one thing you would say to her to get her to pick her head up, to get her to take a step?
Yeah, and that's a tough one. I think I'm going to approach this answer as if it were a 17-year-old, 15. I think I was 16 when I started. 16-year-old girl coming up to me and asking me how to start. That's how I'm going to approach this answer.
Sure.
I would just, because there are creative people and there are non-creative people. And I would just say for me, it was really helpful to find people who had experience already, kind of a mentor, creative mentor, to kind of, one, show them my stuff. You have to start, first of all.
Right.
I'll break this up. Sorry, this answer is messy. I'm going to try to organize this a little better. We're going to compartmentalize this. Photography. If you're wanting to start in photography, shoot as much as you can. Go get a camera. You can get some refurbished. You can get, practice with your iPhone. Practice with an old one you found. Just shoot anything. Go get some models or some friends that, would love to just go do it for free and make it a fun day out of it. And just, you got to have something to start with.
Yeah.
You've just got to start. I mean, I'm a big Nike girl, but just do it. Like, you got to just start. I know that sounds really like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But you have to have something to kind of go off of and build from there. Go to somebody who has experience and say, what do you think about this photo I took? What could be better?
Yeah.
And if you don't have that person, YouTube. Go on
right,
YouTube. I'm
University.
telling you can teach yourself anything on YouTube. There's a photographer that I love because I'm still learning. Her name's Cassidy, and she actually has a podcast talking about photography, and she's got a TikTok account talking about things you need to do or things I wish I had known. And, and I love watching her stuff. Learn from people who've been there and done that and can help you. And then just YouTube, things about composition and camera settings. I did not know how to shoot indoors until a year and a half ago. And it was because I was like, why do these pictures not look good? I can only shoot outside. I was like, I am terrible photographer. I'm never going to, but it's like, you don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
And so go out and learn and research. And if you think you have the eye for it, the personality for it, you're going to be dealing with clients. Some are awesome, some are a little difficult.
Yeah.
And if you can handle, the pressure of making a product for somebody and then sending it to them and they look at it and they're kind of like, okay, thanks. Like, you're going to have to be okay with people not loving your stuff sometimes. And, but if you think it's something you want to do and want to pursue, learn, research, talk to people who do it or have done it. And then just start and put your name out there, and you just never know. My big goal for 2024 is to get into weddings. I do mostly lifestyle, athletes, seniors, family.
Yeah. And
newborns.
She does a great job at it.
Thank you. But I want to start trying to get into weddings. Well, I'm not going to be able to do that until I learn and shoot under people who do weddings on the reg. So I reached out to like 8 to 10 wedding photographers that I love their stuff and asked and put my name in their DMs and said, hey, here's my page. If you need a second shooter, I would love to learn. And,
that's great.
Learn under you.
Great piece of advice.
I don't know everything. I'm doing the same thing, but just start learning, get a camera and practice, and find, like you said, finding your niche. Like some people, I might try weddings this year and be like, okay, yeah, that's not for me. I've got one in May I'm really excited for. But it's like, I might hate that and would rather do something else but you just got to start to kind of figure out what you like and what you want to do and then learn from there.
I love that. To piggyback on that, she gave one of the greatest tips something that I live by and try to. It's reaching out. In this day and age, it is so crazy how close we are from someone. We are a instant message away. We are a direct message away. We are a comment away from wisdom or from that coach or person. I can't tell you how many times I've just hopped into the live of there's a creative I know, great guy, great creative, like love his stuff, been following him for a while, and he was on live, and I just shot a question to him, and there was a few people, it was right before it started, but he answered it, and from that, you get to learn from the experience of others, saving yourself, months, if not years of like growth and experience because they've been there, they've toiled, and they know how to do it. And so I would encourage you, if there's someone that you follow, I dare you to message these people that you follow. Message 5 of them. The worst they can do is not respond. But even in that, it's just reaching out. And that's happened to me, and I've seen, people respond, or it takes time. But taking the time to pursue and find someone who is gifted in that, there's no shortage of that. And just like we were talking about earlier, when you ask God, it honors him. That honors people so much when you ask them for help. When people come to you, like, hey, how do I do it? They would love to. Most of the time you think, oh, they're too busy, or they would love to. And if they wouldn't, then you're probably,
asking the wrong
you're probably asking the wrong person. But I really, like, that's your action step. Like, if you got something else out of the rest of this, or, if God's speaking to you while you're listening to this, awesome. Here's your action step as well. Reach out to, let's say, 5. Hey, I've been following you. Don't say that. Hey, I love your work.
I've been looking outside your window for quite a few weeks now.
So, hey, I've been looking at your work, and I am a growing photographer. I'm a growing videographer. I'm a growing social media, growing in content creation, and I love, I just had a question. Have a list of questions, or just ask them, hey, could I schedule a phone call? Things like that. It would surprise you how open people are to things like that. So.
Yeah, and I think to add a little bit to that too is it's also something about being humble and being vulnerable in this type of work. Yeah. Because, I think there is something to that, messaging somebody that you've looked up to creatively, or like there's a photographer or an artist that you really respect and love and inspires you. I think kind of like you said, like I'm trying to grow this. I think just really being vulnerable and honest and saying like, I don't have this all figured out, instead of, because like nobody really knows what they're doing.
Yeah, no one does.
No one knows what they're doing, I think, at all. Because I realize I'm pushing 24, and I'm like, this was the age of some of my teachers growing up, and they were me. I just can't wrap my brain around that. Like nobody, I don't think, really knows what they're doing, and so I just think there's something to being like kind of just humbling yourself and being vulnerable and just kind of being like, I'm learning. I'm trying to learn, and I love your stuff, and I would love to learn from you. And I think that also reminded me of like something I was going to say earlier when we were talking about my art is like my paintings have become more vulnerable because 2023 was a really just long and difficult year, I think, for a lot of people, me
Yes,
included.
It was.
And
yes,
so it was really a big year of growth for me. And the biggest thing I switched was being more vulnerable and humble and honest with myself and with others about myself.
Yeah.
And, you know, I'm not putting on a front of I've got it all together because no one really does. But I think there's something to that where what you produce will be more vulnerable and honest, and people will gravitate to that more if that's what's coming out of you. Does that make sense?
Yes, it
like
does.
My paintings have become more like most of the art that I've been doing lately has been for me, and it's just things that I'm feeling, and I'm just being honest and vulnerable. And I think my photography has been better. I think everything in my life has been better, just being more vulnerable and letting my guard down and just being more honest with myself and with people.
And I think a good way to encompass all that is like you're being authentic.
Mm-hmm.
That's the key. You're being authentic, and that'll separate you from the rest every time. It's just being true to yourself, because when you're not doing it for yourself. Mm-hmm. There's somebody you're doing it for to try to appease, and that's like you'll burn out on that every time. Mm-hmm. So I love that. Be authentic.
Yeah, and there's something to that. Not that revenge is good, but there is something about just truly being your 100% self to people that may have something to say about it. That's just kind of freeing and a little bit of like you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of like, I mean, I'm just being me. And,
yeah.
You know, for the people who don't want to do that or can't do that, I mean, I think it's inspiring to people.
Yeah,
to
no.
just
be authentic.
Be what you are and nothing. I'm actually working on two pieces right now, because that was a big realization I had last year. It's just like, who am I doing this for?
Yeah.
Like, what am I doing any of this for?
Yeah.
Who am I doing this for? And I'm just like, I don't do this for you. And so that's one of the pieces I'm working on right now is I don't do this for you.
Is that piece going to be for sale, or is that piece for you?
I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I would sell it. I'd duplicate
so follow,
it.
Yeah,
but
so send her a message.
Yeah. But there's one piece that's going to be like, and I think that's just part of just growing up and just having to cut some ties with people that, you know, I mean, it's just like, who are you doing this for? Like, I think people need to do more things for themselves, not to be selfish.
Yeah, the 17-year-old version of themselves.
But yeah, I'm just like 17-year-old me is like, I don't do this for you.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
And you know, like my art doesn't understand you either. That's what it's gonna say on there. That's a little
creative. Yeah.
But yeah.
Oh, well, thank you so much for just taking the time and being here and just sharing, being vulnerable, being authentic, and just kind of sharing your journey, sharing where you are and sharing where you're going. I mean, it's awesome to see the growth. I remember we were talking when you were just like kind of launching and branding and things
Mm-hmm.
like that, and just to kind of see your hunger and how it's like grown, what it's produced, but then knowing that you're even hungrier now. Mm-hmm. And so I would just say, keep going. Would love to have you back.
Yeah, thanks.
And
I'd love to be back.
yeah, for sure. And yeah, good talk.
Yeah, good talk. Oh, I have to tell you this because I didn't tell you this before, but one time he came into the store, Swellophonic again, and we were talking about something, and I was like, he said something about branding or whatever, and I was like, yeah, I wish I could just like do it for myself. I wish I could do that for myself. I wish I could brand myself like I brand other places. And he's like, do it. And I was like, oh, I guess I could.
Yeah.
And so like, I didn't even tell you that, but that conversation that day was a big reason that I kind of really took it seriously, because
Awesome.
you were like, why don't you? And I was like, I don't know. That's a really good point.
Yeah.
So thank you. And that was very inspiring that day. I just wanted to say that to you and everyone.
Awesome.
Anyway.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, love it. Until next time.
Until next time.
All right, see you guys.